They were digging deep into the garden shaft in the hopes of finding gold or hidden artifacts, but instead they found a dark passageway from the 17th century connected to a section called the Baby Blob. The passage had odd gaps, and the walls and ceiling were broken apart, indicating that the passage had been intentionally damaged. Lagena and his crew made a terrifying discovery at Smith's Cove, which is a site that is famous for its fabled treasure stash from the 18th century. The team continued to dig, taking samples every 10 feet and examining every piece of soil. As they continued, they came across flood tunnels that had haunted treasure hunters for centuries. With modern technology and experience, the team had the upper hand in detecting gold and silver. As they continued to drill, they discovered more old wooden beams that were part of a well-thought-out structure. The team was excited to discover that these beams were part of a structure that had been forgotten for a long time, possibly hiding treasure or something more sinister. They carefully removed the P-beams in the hopes that dating them would provide more insight into the timeline. As they continued to dig, they discovered pieces of wood that had been shaped by ancient tools that were used long before modern machinery. The swamp's strange story unfolded as they continued to dig. The team was on a mission to solve an ancient mystery in a swamp. They discovered ship parts dating back to the 15th century, a brace from a ship with a 9-inch diameter, and a ship's rail triling that was traced back to the 8th century. These discoveries led them to believe that the swamp contained more than just shipwrecks, suggesting that the area had a deeper history. They also discovered a large wooden structure buried in the swamp that reminded them of a dam that had been built to conceal something. Dr. Ian Sponer, a geoscientist, was brought in to assist in dating the wood and investigate whether or not it was connected to the nearby stone road, which is estimated to be around 500 years old. If the two were connected, it would indicate that the area had been a center of activity centuries ago. The swamp seemed to have a mind of its own, hiding something that no one was meant to find. Cuba and Fiona discovered a button that was covered in gold, which was reminiscent of a period in history when the Royal Navy ruled the seas. Marty and Rick were working on the southern portion of the swamp when they discovered a wooden structure that was concealed beneath a stone road. The craftsmanship reminded them of old cabins where every piece had a place. The connections between the swamp, the garden shaft, and the hidden road appeared to be linked. However, the most important aspect that they were still missing was that they did not fully understand the tunnels, wooden structures, and odd arrangement of the swamp. All of these elements pointed towards something that was more than just pieces of wood or random artifacts. Upon embarking on a treasure search, Rick and his team came to the realization that the Money Pit was not merely a simple quest, but rather a war against time, nature, and an unknown power. The Money Pit had always been known for its hidden treasures and daring exploits, but now they discovered something darker and more mysterious within it. As they dug deeper, they encountered objects and structures that didn't fit with the area's known history. The team often discussed the day's finds with a mix of excitement and apprehension theories as they pondered the origins of the road and the purpose of the hidden structures. As a result of the hard weather conditions and the challenging terrain, the stakes became higher, and the looming sense of messing with things that should be kept untouched added to the weight of their work. In 2006, Rick and his brother Marty purchased 50% of Oak Island Tours Inc., the company that owned the majority of the island. Rick's childhood fantasy led him to become a treasure hunter, and his passion for history and the desire to learn more about the past never left him. He wanted to do things the right way, no shortcuts and no reckless movements. This wasn't just about finding riches. It was about comprehending the past and piecing together a forgotten story. Rick tackled the hunt with resolve and a sense of determination that had been building for decades. He wanted to do things the right way. Rick's perseverance paid off gradually, and with each newly discovered piece of information, they were drawn further into the complicated and lengthy history of Oak Island. Rick Lagena and his team, driven by passion and a deep love for history, were set to start a new phase of drilling at the garden shaft. They stumbled upon an old wooden passageway from the 17th century, which connected to a spot known as the Baby Blob. This discovery led to more questions than it answered, as they noticed gaps in the walls and ceiling. The team was ready for a detailed drilling operation, led by experts from Duma Contracting Limited. They aimed to explore the hidden parts of the passage, searching for any signs of the treasure that had fascinated so many for so long. The water began to stream into the shaft through holes that had been bored close to the 97-foot mark. most likely hitting one of the well-known flood tunnels on the island. With today's technology, historical knowledge, and unyielding determination, Rick and his crew felt a strong connection to previous explorers who had attempted to solve the island's old stories, but had been unsuccessful. With today's technology, historical knowledge, and unwavering determination, they were better equipped than anyone who had come before them. As they explored deeper into the newly revealed part of the passage, they discovered large wooden beams that were uniquely shaped. These beams confirmed the passage's existence and its significance in history. A difficult constructing process that most likely dates back to the 17th century was displayed by the beam, and the researchers suspected that additional information was concealed close to an experienced excavator. Gary arrived at the location with a metal detector in the hopes of discovering artifacts that could provide additional information about the history of the region. His efforts were rewarded when he beeped, indicating the presence of a metal object that suggested it was from a much earlier time. As the excavation continued, the team placed markers along the passage in order to create accurate maps of what was there. Located under the surface, the treasure team. Hunters on Oak Island are determined to uncover the truths buried beneath the island. Driven by historical curiosity and the thrill of the hunt, they are determined to find hidden riches and a deep history of the island itself. As they continue their search, they discover new pieces of history, such as ship parts from the 15th and 18th centuries and a ship's railing dating back to the 8th century. This discovery suggests that the swamp might have a deeper history than initially thought, possibly connecting to Viking explorers from medieval times. As they continue digging, they come across unexpected discoveries, such as a large wooden structure that resembled a wall or dam, which they believe could be linked to an ancient ship railing geoscientist. In order to investigate the region surrounding the wooden building and establish whether or not it is connected to an old stone road that is 500 years old, Dr. Ian Spooner is called in. Marty Lagaga and Dr. Spooner are working on another region that has piqued their curiosity, and they are fascinated by a gigantic stone that is embedded in a rock and is situated on top of a man-made stone structure. Dr. Spooner finds a stick wedged between the boulder and the dirt below it, proving that the boulder was moved on purpose to control the flow of water in the swamp. The team's determination to uncover the truths and mysteries surrounding Oak Island is evident in their exploration of the swamp and its rich history. The team of researchers led by Gary and Billy returned to the swamp to uncover more clues about the history of Oak Island. They discovered strange tree stumps and layers of old wood supporting Dr. Spooner's theory that the swamp had been changed by people long ago. As they continued digging, they discovered more clues such as a gold-coated button, a circular arrangement of stones within a pit lined with rocks, and several pieces of neatly cut wood and other wooden artifacts. These items seem to have predate any known history of Oak Island, driving them to delve deep into its past. The team agreed not to make significant changes to the area until further analysis by Dr. Spooner. They also discovered a 600-year-old lead coin and a piece of silverware with an intricately designed handle, suggesting a rich layer to Oak Island's past. A new set of questions regarding the history of the island was brought to light when an old shoe bottom with metal studs that had been made using conventional methods was found. Marty and Rick Lagena, along with their colleague Craig Tester, concentrated their efforts on the southern portion of the swamp, where they discovered a concealed wooden structure hidden beneath a stone pathway. This structure resembled the construction of a log cabin with additional wooden supports and underbrush, which suggested that construction may have been abruptly halted. The team was eager to learn more about the historical significance of the site and the lives of those who had once called it home.
Jeweled brooch. This was their second such find, following a garnet brooch they discovered in the previous season. Seeing red, the excitement continued in the 6th episode of the following. According to Luthen Brain, the brooch's threaded technique estimated its age to be no later than the 14th century, notwithstanding the glass gem. It was a remarkable jewelry item with a lengthy and enigmatic past. However, the real revelation came when Dr. Krista Bro and Dr. Xiang Yang, employing an electron microscope, identified a gold component within the brooch. This revelation was a genuine epiphany, whereas the gem itself may have been a little bit disappointing. The brooch that was encircling it was discovered to be an authentic treasure of Oak Island artifact. Next on the list is the hand-painted pottery featured in episode 14 of season 8, titled Fire in the Hole. This particular discovery captivated viewers intently, as it offered a glimpse into the enigmatic workings of Oak Island. To provide a brief synopsis, archaeologists Miriam Amiro and Dr. Aaron Taylor embark on an expedition to decipher the parameters of a stone pathway that potentially holds the key to unlocking the island's secrets. As their investigation progresses, they fortuitously encounter a remarkable handcrafted artifact. Upon further inspection, they discover pottery fragments adorned with vibrantly colored designs, painted by hand in red, blue, and green hues. These exquisite fragments provide insight into a long history of human activity on Oak Island, a mysterious location shrouded in mystery for centuries. What makes the discovery of these colorful pottery pieces along the stone pathway that the team is laboriously attempting to investigate even more intriguing is that they were not found as isolated finds. Rather, they were discovered while following a breadcrumb trail of hints. Lastly, gold was unearthed in Episode 2 of Season 9, titled The Gold Medal of the Curse of Oak Island. This find captivated Oak Island enthusiasts. The Oak Island team laboriously sorts through the spoils unearthed from tedious holes in the money pit area. It's a laborious process, but they eventually come across a piece of metal that could be precisely what they've been seeking all these years. They transport this metal specimen to an archaeology laboratory. The most intriguing aspect of this metal fragment, which is composed of numerous elements, is that approximately 0.07% of it registers as Au, the chemical symbol for gold. This is a game changer. Gold has been a long-standing enigma surrounding Oak Island. Presently, archaeologists are discovering indications of this precious metal in the very soil they've been excavating. However, the intrigue does not cease there. Just 2 episodes later, in Episode 4 of Season 9, they make another metallic discovery. This time, it is only a stone's throw from where they discovered the first trace of gold. The results of their rigorous examination of this new source of metal are even more astounding. It contains 0.2% gold, a significantly higher percentage than the previous find. This revelation represents a major breakthrough, as trace amounts of gold are now confirmed on Oak Island. From traces of gold to ancient coins and a possible connection to the Knights Templar, these were some of the most shocking moments of Oak Island Brothers. With each discovery, we were reminded that this treasure hunt is far from over, and the mysteries of Oak Island remain as enthralling as ever, including the area's possible link to a money pit. I had a good sense about this lot, especially since there are so many flags to pursue. Are you prepared to get your teeth stuck in? Then we should proceed. A significant ship find alters everything. The Curse of Oak Island's 8th season centers on the discovery of a significant ship that could change the course of the inquiry completely. The gang discovers a polished piece of wood that resembles a handrail, which prompts them to surmise that it was once a section of a ship's railing that was attached to the surrounding stone road. This finding adds to the body of data that suggests the wetland once served as an open seaport. However, a large object is impeding their efforts and keeping them from going any further. The gang remains unwavering in their resolve to explore the marsh and learn what lies beneath its surface despite this obstacle. Despite the fact that a significant ship finding has completely changed everything. One of the objects that the crew discovers is a polished piece of wood that resembles a railing. They believe it to be a fragment of a ship's railing, and that it is attached to the surrounding stone path. This would provide as another evidence that the marsh formerly served as an open harbor. They encounter a large item, though, which prohibits them from exploring further and learning more. They won't stop looking until they find what's hidden there, since the group is certain that the swamp holds the knowledge they require. During the 8th season of The Curse of Oak Island, a significant shipwreck is discovered and made public. The group finds a significant relic that has the power to change the direction their search will take, which throws everything into confusion. The find raises questions about the ship's history and purpose, while also giving the members new causes for optimism and excitement. The group is more motivated than ever to carry out their inquiry and uncover new clues that could ultimately unveil the secrets of Oak Island as the mystery grows more baffling. A number of shipping logs were found by the brothers, providing proof that an armada of French soldiers reached Oak Island in 1746. The Duc d'Anville expedition, which was sent from France with the goal of retaking Louisbourg, may have been the source of the artifacts. One of the most thrilling metal detector discoveries on the show happened in the 1st season. Steve Zazulik discovered a copper coin of the Spanish 8 denomination. The object was probably moved there at some point in the 17th century. During the second season of The Curse of Oak Island, metal detecting helped uncover more old coins. Gary Drayton found 2 Britannia coins from King Charles II's reign while walking along the shore. It was hidden beneath a layer of rocks, one of which had the year 1771 carved into its surface, and pyrite. When the crew inspected one of the coins found that season in the episode titled The 90-Foot Stone, they discovered what appeared to be a cross symbol on one side of the coin. The show had the name The 90-Foot Stone. The greatest degree of hope was given to the searchers by this specific treasure that was discovered on Oak Island in 2022 or before. Was it appropriate to utilize it in a financial institution? An episode from the 5th season of the show focused on one of the most significant archaeological finds discovered throughout the course of the series. Drayton and Lagena found a solid lead cross at the seashore after bringing their metal detectors there. It was discovered after analysis that the artifact most likely originated in the 13th century. Additional investigation establishes a link between Oak Island and the Knights Templar in subsequent episodes. Another of Drayton and Lagena's gems was uncovered with a metal detector in the 6th season's opening episode. To search for hidden wealth, they traveled to a region of the island that had not previously been investigated. They moved a big boulder, dragged it up from under it, and found copper in a well-preserved cartwheel 2 pence. Drayton uses his metal detector to focus on a signal, which Lagena uses as a guide to find and unearth a jeweled brooch. Leaded glass was used to make the gem, and gold was utilized to make the other parts of the jewelry. This archaeological gem was uncovered thanks to the use of ground-penetrating radar. It was initially thought to be a crossbow bolt, but an authority on antiquities has speculated that it might have been a javelin, a weapon used by the Romans more than 2,000 years ago. The team finds a metal object in the 2nd episode of the 9th season that appears to be the object they have been looking for since the beginning of the show. Further inspection reveals that only a small fraction of the object is truly.
In the northern section of the triangle-shaped marsh, the team is looking for other potential caches of hidden goods. They found a piece of shaped wood 3 feet underground, which may be connected to a building nearer the surface or another one farther below. As the excavation progresses, the team is committed to finding answers and staying focused. Archaeologist Jack Begley teams up with archaeologist Fiona Steele and her assistant Todd Length to explore a mysterious foundation close to the shoreline. The test pit's goal is to determine whether the gap in the rocks is an entranceway. The added benefit is that this is the section of the whole structure that has been located. The crew has found man-made mortar that matches soils from more than 100 feet deep in the money pit. Additionally, some portions of the feature, as well as a variety of coins and antiquities from the 14th to the 18th centuries, have been unearthed in the money pit area. A hinge piece that Fiona thinks is a diamond or some kind of cut glass is one of the items that have led the team to conclude that the feature was utilized and altered by several people throughout a number of ages when riches may have been placed in the money pit location. Fiona is unsure, but Jack believes that this hinge may have come from a chest or box. The rest of the hinge and its contents are being bagged. Todd thinks the hinge might be a gemstone or glass gemstone, while Fiona says it might have been from a ring or necklace. Over the past 10 years, the Legas and their team have found numerous items of treasure throughout Oak Island, including gold-plated buttons, silver coins, and gemstones. The team is committed to finding answers to these questions as they continue to investigate the swamp and its possible treasure caches. One such find, which was made on Lot 21 in 2018, is thought to be at least 500 years old. It is a stunning and priceless treasure. The following day, archaeologist Lars Nian and archaeometallurgist Emma Culligan joined the team to examine an artifact that resembled a glass gem close to Lot 5's spherical feature. The artifact has a significant amount of lead, which is uncommon in modern glass, particularly glassware. The artifact, known as paste, is made of ground-up, highly Li-containing flint glass that was pressed into a mold. Gorg in French jewelry. Early in the 18th century, Friedrich Struss made imitation jewels by mixing lead and bismuth with powdered glass. Perhaps during an effort to bury treasures, the circular feature on Lot the 5th of May have served as a camp. The Pit of Money. The fact that the mortar-like material discovered in the round feature matches soil samples found both nearby and deep underground, where a large-scale excavation is currently taking place, emphasizes that someone of significance was present and that someone wealthy had dug everywhere. The province attested that this was the first of these items they had discovered. Marty thinks that this is one of the most important things on Lot 5. The team's data and analysis are something to think about, but they intend to keep looking for more treasure and locate the treasure's siblings. In 2020, Rick Lagena, a metal detection expert, and Billy Gart are looking for clues at the southern border of a mysterious triangle-shaped swamp. They have found ship-related artifacts and wood from ships that date back to the 15th and 18th centuries, as well as a piece of ship railing near the southern border that was carbon-dated to as early as the 8th century. Given Dr. Doug Simmons's theory that the medieval Viking culture may be connected to the Oak Island mystery, the team is eager to find more evidence of a sailing vessel in the swamp, and they are wondering if they have found more evidence of a sailing vessel there and who the visitors were. With dates from 700 AD found on the ship's railing and 120-200 dates found in the swamp, the Oak Island team thinks this is a very old mystery. There are compelling indications that there was activity there from the beginning, but to what extent this adds intrigue to the search? The team is eager to see what other potential clues they may find in the area. In conclusion, the Oak Island team is actively searching for clues at the southern border of the swamp, using various methods to uncover clues and examining the historical context of the swamp more than 30 years ago. Billy is digging in the swamp, and they find horizontal and vertical boards, as well as a wall of a shaft or retaining wall. It's possible that Fred probed this wall when he believed he hit the wall. Fred Nolan, a treasure hunter and landlord of Oak Island, found a wooden wall or dam in the marsh that he thought was proof of an artificial structure built years ago to conceal something valuable. The team is currently looking into whether they have discovered a portion of the same construct and, if so, whether it is connected to the possibly 1250-year-old ship railing fragment discovered nearby in 2020. Geoscientist Dr. Ian Spooner has been invited by Gary and Rick Lena to examine the feature. The team is also interested in finding something that connects the stone road to something else, like a loading and unloading platform. If this is as old as the stone road, it could have been used for unloading goods and constructing other structures. They are particularly interested in the red material beneath the stone road, which may be from around the same time period as the wooden tunnel beneath the garden shaft. If we begin to see that red material inside and around that wood structure, that could put it even further back in time. The southeast corner of the marsh is poorly understood, and in order to better comprehend its function, it is desired to excavate and reveal the complete structure. This wood is intriguing since it has flat tops and rounded edges. The team is looking for one or two artifacts that could provide insight into its original use. Since they have worked very hard to place anything in the northern part of the marsh, they must exercise caution when doing so. Dr. Ian Spooner, a geoscientist, and Marty Lagena have made an important discovery. They found a boulder with a disturbance at its base, indicating that Nolan's cross has an internal mechanism for unlocking it. A researcher named John Edwards led the team to this spot with the promise that they might unearth a hidden treasure related to the Knights Templar. When Billy Gart dug around, a huge boulder was found perched atop a possibly man-made stone formation. The team is currently investigating the site to see if it is a natural feature or if it could actually be man-made. Marty finds interesting details about John Edwards' presentation, such as a stick in between the boulder and the sediment, which suggests that people were moving around boulders to move water through the area. This seems like people were manipulating or trying to change the water level in the swamp. For whatever reason, if Dr. Spooner and Billy are correct, the area around this feature could offer evidence to support the theory of researcher John Edwards, who believes it may have been created centuries ago by members of the Knights Templar. They found some nice cut wood at the base of the swamp material, which they plan to carbonate and use to determine if they find any other oddities and possibly some metals. The next morning, they plan to find some good stuff, including a big tree, 2 layers of trees, and several other tree stumps. These findings suggest that the swamp may have been artificially manipulated hundreds of years ago, as trees are not able to naturally grow in marsh environments. The team intends to stroll around and examine the rocks that border the swamp after discovering another intriguing discovery: a large piece of timber that was brought here for a purpose and has been hacked multiple times. While investigating a rockline dip at Oak Island that is thought to be a treasure pit, Billy and Rick come across a peculiar concealed stone feature that they think could revolutionize the game. Since it appears to be quite old, the team is thrilled with the discovery and wants to take a break. Billy and Rick are impressed by the circle of stones, which they believe was created when Billy bailed the water out. They don't find any metals, but they found no metals at the paved area or on the stone roadway. This suggests that people may have been on Oak Island earlier than they thought the board they found was cut, and there were loads of wood along the line. One of the features they found was big long strokes with an axe, which could be a candidate for C-14 Fred Nolan, who discovered several uniform lines of wooden stakes carbon, dated to as early as the 1500s, was convinced they were survey markers used to artificially create the brackish bog. The Oak Island team is considering whether they have found a similar stake at a site believed to mark a location where treasure could be buried, however they don't think it is natural. Rick suggests having Dr. Spooner come out and try to core through the site, but they don't think they should do anything more physically until Dr. Spooner comes in. Craig believes that if people were building something at John Edwards' site, they must be careful when examining it, as it may tell the story of who was there and could be a game changer.